Hi Taurus, and welcome to your energy reading for the week beginning Monday the 8th of May. Have a look at what possible energies could be around us for this week. And we have the Queen of Pentacles, the Empress, the Hermit, the Knight of Wands, the Ace of Swords, the Four of Swords, the Four of Cups, the Sun, and the Devil. So the first energy we come in is our own element of the Queen of Pentacles, and in this deck it is depicted as the Taurian energy. So we're feeling very much in our element. We're feeling safe and secure in who we are, where we've come, what we've got to offer. We're very practical and prepared to get our hands dirty to do the work that's required for anything. But feeling quite affectionate and generous. Time of using our wisdom in circumstances. Maybe feeling a love towards nature and wanting to be out and about, or our family and home environment this week. But we're being practical and down to earth. It talks about focusing on key tasks that need to be done and spending our money wisely. She can be a woman who supports you at work, but it's about being hands-on, getting involved, getting practical with things, getting close to nature, children, animals. Now we could be talking a time period of that Taurian energy, but I don't think that's relevant here. We've got so many cards that could give us time references that I'd rather go with them. If I feel I want to bring it up later, we'll come back to it. The next card she sat next to is the third card of the major arcana, which is the Empress. And the Empress talks about the feminine attributes. The being in touch with the feminine side of our nature. Growing, developing things, nurturing things. Our home, the feelings of love, fertility, comfort and generosity. It talks about a time of growth and expansion. All needs are taken care of at this time. If we had financial setbacks, the Empress says things are about to get better. She talks of seeing the possibilities of happiness in the future, a loving partnership, a family, or our general contentment. Talks about letting old feuds be forgotten. We can talk about feeling a point of emotional stability, or because of the stability we have already within our natural element, our creativity is sparked. It could talk to our mother, a female partner, the ideal partner. The Queen of Pentacles could talk to a Cancer, Capricorn, Taurus or Virgo that's around us as well. talks to the planet of Venus, and Venus is our ruler, along with, to a lesser degree, Libra. But it talks to our pleasures, the romance, love, the femininity, the arts, and the beauty that surrounds us. And they are sat alongside the 9th card of the Major Arcana, which is the Hermit. Now, the Hermit talks about taking time to reflect on situations, taking time out to educate ourselves, to look at our traditions and beliefs. It does talk of ceremonies, of marriages, of commitments and unity, but it can talk about our core values and our interactions with authority and authority figures. Is a guy and a point in life where we realise our own wisdom is what can help us through. He talks about religions, he talks about marriages and commitments. Is a man of learning, is a man of knowledge, is a man of seeking knowledge. He talks about being connected to his intuition, feeling that connection, actually grounding his human existence with the ethereal existence, and being guided by that intuition. It talks of maybe sorry, Taurus, I thought I'd just pause until the landline stopped ringing. So he talks about the traditional values, the traditional way of doing things, but he can also look at the perspective of the non-traditional, the non-orthodox way of approaching things. He does talk to the sign of Virgo, and Virgo time periods have the 24th of August to the 30th of October. So we could have been reflecting in that time last year and started setting a plan or getting insight as to where we can move on in our physical journey, or it may be planned towards that time period later on in the year. He's then paired, sat next to the Knight of Wands. Now, the Knight of Wands talks about activity, flourish, movement, enthusiasm to get going. There's no time to sit and waste anymore. Action now needs to be taken. It talks about receiving an energy boost, probably the realisation of what we've learnt in the energy of the Hermit when assessing the growth and expansion of something. You can talk to a Sagittarian, so maybe there's a Sagittarian around at the minute. But it's having that Sagittarian energy, that youthful passion, having a true focus on something. Now, it can talk very much to having good communications, wanting to communicate, but it can talk to new passions of love and romance too. Personal projects can be dynamic. It can talk of travel and moving home. Excuse me. But in general it talks about having the enthusiasm and the energy to move forward on something. If there have been blockages and a lack of growth, we've found the insight to move forward now. It talks about choosing the right people for the right situations, for the right projects that will benefit, the situation will benefit from the most. It's choosing the right situations, people that you feel investing your time and attention into will benefit the most. There is a risk with this card of becoming ungrounded, which in the Queen of Pentacles we are grounded. So keep our grounded and balanced nature, and we can move swiftly forward and make good advancements this week in the areas we want to focus on. And that is sat next to the Ace of Swords, which is an ending to a beginning. It's usually a flash of insight, a breakthrough, becoming aware of hidden truths, or negative thoughts, which, taken time in the right energy of the Hermit, we get to the bottom of. But we have that clarity of insight to move forward. Now, it can talk to a new way of thinking about a situation. It can talk to new ambitions and drives. But it talks about our intelligence. The breakthrough, more than anything else, is intellectual. We make a smart decision that no sooner have we done it, we can actually see the rewards of the victory. So as soon as we've had that flash of insight regarding a situation, it's that clear, we can't ever deny it. We can't ever understand why we didn't see it that way to start with. It can talk of a positive new start in a relationship, or a positive new start in something that got that bogged down, it got stagnant and blocked and held in its tracks. So it may signify a positive change in attitude or approach to a situation that gets it moving again, giving us mental clarity and sharp wit. If we're looking at having an argument or a debate, we're winning that argument or debate. But it talks about having a lot of determination, good ideas and good solutions, logical solutions to situations. Now, Four of Swords is the next card, which talks about rest and recuperation. We've been through the battle of the Three of Swords, we got through the heartache of the Three of Swords, and we know now it's just a time to recover. It's a time to rest, maybe take a break, go on a holiday, give our mind a rest, because we have found clarity. We can choose to take this rest, and if we don't, somehow fate comes along and swipes the our feet from under us and we end up resting. So when this card comes around, you may feel in yourself very excited and exuberant that you want to go forcing forward. But take time to rest. Think about things clearly, because in these restful moments and that's when the insight comes through. It can show some plans going on hold while you take time out to rest. But it talks about enjoying that peaceful, more relaxed lifestyle for a while. And that's next to the next card, which is a 4 again. So we've 2 4s. So we're talking about the strength and stability, the foundations of things in this reading. And the 4 of Cups talks about being in a place where, yeah, everything's great, everything's fantastic, but I'm just missing something. There's just something out of reach. Again, it talks of stagnation and not moving forward. Maybe feeling a bit despondent because things aren't moving forward. It can talk of stubbornness in a situation. But its advice is to look for inspiration. Look at why we feel bored and stagnant in these restful times we're taking. Find the clarity in why we feel discontent with situations. It talks about maybe retreating into ourselves because we're not finding what we want. It may be plain and simply that we are in such a good place we can't understand why we'd want anything more, or we feel that something's missing. And it can be a plain and simple mindset that whatever we are looking for is just not out there. We feel the opportunities aren't out there, but maybe that's because we're still focused on these things that we haven't got. We're not seeing something else that could actually fill that box. And that's sat next to Major Arcana, the Sun. Now in this reading, Taurus, we have 4 Major Arcanas, which is a lot of energy for 1 week. But we talk to the Sun. Now the Sun talks of all the happiness, all the joy, fertility. It can talk to the masculine persona. We could be talking. We have the Empress right above, which the Empress does talk of fertility and births. So there could be the birthing of a new family member, a son. It could be regarding our children. There could be a boredom and dissatisfaction because we want a relationship that does have children. But it talks about our holidays, our success, our contentment. And when the sun's out in any reading, anything that we're facing is a lot easier to handle and overcome. So even though up to where we've read so far, the risk of our desires and ambitions running away with us, the introversion of listening and talking to ourselves together, insight in the Hermit, and the boredom and dissatisfaction of the 4 of Cups are actually going to be a lot easier energies to work through this week because they've all got the Sun and the positivity that this card casts into the whole of the reading. And it is about being positive. Again, this card talks about a well-deserved time for relaxation. If there has been a lot of stress, the sun comes in to ensure us that it soon be over. It talks about spending time with our children or finding our inner child and feeding the inner child. It does talk about trips, holidays. But it talks about creative pursuits. You know, a creative project now may flourish into something more. But it says it's a time to be deserving, a time to rest and recuperate, but enjoy feeling the safety and the harmony that is around you. It can talk to the actual day of Sunday. So by Sunday we could be into this energy. The Empress in a weekly reading would also talk to a Wednesday. So we could have news of a new creative project, a new passion inspired, news of a birth, a marriage, a celebration on Wednesday. And that brings us to the final card, which is card 16, 15, which is the Devil in the Major Arcana. Now the Devil talks to the temptations in life. This card should just have ego written all over it. Maybe there's tests around us, maybe there's a temptation around us. This week, maybe we're fighting temptations, maybe we're fighting addictions this week. Maybe we're looking with the Hermit, we're assessing with the Hermit why we feel bound and tied to a situation, a person, an addiction, a mindset that we're in. The Devil can talk to a Capricorn, so there could very well be a Capricorn around us at the minute. He can talk to the energies at the time period of December the 22nd to February the 15th. So maybe we've been in a period of someone being dependent on us, or us being dependent on a certain situation. Us not having clarity and truth in a situation regarding an addiction. But it's time to break an agreement. These addictions, these self-imposed chains that we put on ourselves are all still a choice. Card 15 reverts back to a number 6, which reverts back to the Lovers. And the Lovers again talks about making a choice. It's our choice to stay in these negative, chaotic energies, or to move away. When the Devil appears, we've handed our power over to someone else. We've given someone else control of us, or something else, and it's now time to take back control. Look at how we restrict ourselves. Look at how we control things, what kind of power we have over things. Maybe we are in contracts that are wrong, and that needs to be approached. But it talks about being trapped and enslaved. It could be to a job, a financial situation, a relationship, a family situation. And you've got little power, or feel you have little power over it. But you have all the power because you can always walk away from it. We choose to stay in these environments. And the main message of this is that all kinds of bondage are an illusion. We can decide to break free whenever we choose. So having self-reflection and resting over the attachments and the burdens that we feel bound and tied to this week. Are we looking at moving on to something that has got the potential of growth and expansion? I mean, we have the Empress and the Sun. The Sun talks to masculine, the Empress talks to feminine. And a new beginning. A clarity in what we want in our life. The fullness and creativity and feeling within our power of the Empress, and the happiness, the optimism, the joy of the Sun. Keeping a balance between still being grounded and practical and our passionate nature whisking us off onto new adventures. And not listening to negative thoughts around us, negative speech around us. There could be gossip around us at the moment, but not getting involved in that, keeping clarity of mind and thought. Taking time to ourselves to assess this situation. Now Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, and Saturn talks to the structure of things, the limitations, the restrictions, the discipline regarding things, and the authority regarding things. But it also talks about time, because time, as we know, time is a restrictive module. Is it time now to face all these restrictions that we put on ourselves? To get clarity in thought. I mean, not so much her speaking a truth and thinking a truth, it's living a truth. It's being just and right in a situation. This is the goddess Athene. She sits as the queen with the scales of balance, the sword of justice. She sits in the justice card itself. So it's about being right and just. Now, as I say, there could be another earth sign, Capricorn, Virgo, or even another Taurian around us. But that could be ourselves. We may be thinking of someone, we may have our eye on someone in a relationship, scenario, having the Passion of the Wands here. But we've got to be honest with ourselves. In the Virgo element of the Hermit, take time to get clear. See the true potential that's in front of us when we walk away from the restrictions of the devil. Right then, Capricorn. Taurus, sorry. Happy birthday to any of you guys that are still celebrating this week. And talking of that, that's exactly what the Capricorn, the devil energy could be. We could be overindulging this week in some things. We could be overindulging in the happiness, good times and celebrations that are around us at the moment. I would say be careful, keep our clarity of thought and speech, don't make any promises that we are going to have to break later, and don't get overindulged that much we get ourselves into a state of having to be laid up and recovering. Right guys, thank you for coming to see me again, and I'll see you again next week. Take care.